Is produced live in the Solidarity Realty Studios. Find them at solidarityrealty.com. Solidarity Realty. There is an alternative.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves and corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the Devil Radio Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning. Welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Here is your host, Mike Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, the Hump Day edition. Dominic, I got some devilish headlines for you.
Yeah. Happy Hump Day to you, Evan, our fair audience. I can't wait, Crudy. What do you got, man?
You know why I'm nearly gleeful today to start the show?
Why?
Because today is Robin Voss's day in the J6 barrel.
Woohoo!
We all have our days. Didn't Robin Voss sue to block giving any sort of testimony in what? Trump's pressure campaign to have him reverse the outcome of the 2020 election, decertify the 2020 election here in the state of Wisconsin. Robin Voss has already been targeted by the man, right? He endorsed a primary opponent, Adam Steen. The guy nearly beat him, 260 votes. And this guy is supposed to be Speaker of the Wisconsin Assembly, the most powerful Republican in Wisconsin, nearly got his wings clipped by the former president. And yet he still persisted not wanting to give the testimony against the man. But today is your day in the barrel, Robin Voss.
He did, Crudy, back in his CNN reporting, his lawsuit that he filed after receiving the subpoena initially. He was very concerned about it. This is what he said then. The committee is demanding Speaker Voss appear for a deposition to answer questions irrelevant to the committee's investigation with virtually no notice in the closing days of his re-election campaign, merely because of the committee's public relations scheme, Voss's lawsuit at the time said. Apparently, it didn't go that way.
I guess we've moved beyond the timelines, and today's your day in the barrel, Robin Voss. It's gotta be difficult when you are the leader of a party that has effectively abandoned you for Donald Trump, right? I mean, Robin Voss is that old school, that Paul Ryan, Rance Priebus, Scotty Wanker kind of Republican back in the good old days. But now they're all Scrooged because they sold their souls to Donald Trump. And he owns them, and he's calling them due. Except today, Robin Voss could probably give some pretty damning testimony against the former president. Dom, let's not forget, Donald Trump summoned him, right?
Yes.
Private jet. They rode together down to Alabama. And what did Robin Voss do at the bequest of the former president? How he set up a special counsel's office. He hired a corrupted former Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice, Michael Gableman, and gave him, Gableman thought, unlimited subpoena power and the ability to sign a joint lease, apparently, at a liposuction clinic or something. I'm not clear on that part. But he basically gave a partisan all the fuel he needed to put on a year-plus long witch hunt.
And then at the end of that, Voss himself said that Gableman, the man who he hired, the man who he paid, the man who he hoists this responsibility upon to look at the fraud in the Wisconsin elections, Voss then called him an embarrassment to the state of Wisconsin.
No, he was just a coffee boy. You misunderstood. I hardly ever met the guy. So anyways, that's the circumstance, the predicament, if you will, Tom, that Robin Voss finds himself in, because he doesn't really want to talk about it, right? Because he's still trying to carve out a governing majority in this very purple state of Wisconsin. They don't like Donald Trump here. Not as much on the, let's say, sane side of the aisle. Well, he's got his gerrymandered advantage down, but that power only comes if he's still the speaker. And luckily for you, Robin, you're still the speaker, but the lawsuit didn't work. So today's your day in the barrel.
Voss, the, of course, Speaker of Wisconsin State Assembly, was subpoenaed by the committee this year after he publicly revealed that Trump called him 20 months after the election to demand that he dismiss the results. Biden won the battleground state by about 20,000 votes, NBC News reports. Trump called after the Wisconsin Supreme Court issued a ruling that restricted the use of absentee ballot drop boxes in future elections. Trump tried to convince Voss that the ruling should apply retroactively, which Voss told him was not possible. Voss's refusal to try to throw out the election results led Trump to campaign against his reelection. Voss, who's the longest-serving speaker in Wisconsin history, Crudy, ultimately prevailed in his primary, but only by 3 percentage points, the smallest margin of his political career. Wisconsin Dems previously criticized Voss for appropriating close to $700,000 to investigate the state's 2020 election results. The investigation turned up no evidence of widespread fraud, and Voss later said the election had not been stolen. A spokesperson for the January 6th committee declined to comment on Voss's scheduled appearance. NBC News has asked Voss for a comment. Also, a federal judge on Monday rejected Trump's argument that he has absolute immunity in response to a lawsuit alleging he committed civil rights violations in his attempts to challenge the 2020 presidential election results. The House committee.
No immunity. They're always trying to use that one. I'm immune. That's why they don't like getting vaccinated. These Republicans, they're immune. They're immunized.
Is that what it is? A little bit on that, I guess, Crudy. The judge Monday, rejected Trump's argument that he has absolute immunity. The lawsuit was filed by the NAACP and Michigan Welfare Rights Organization and others, accuses Trump and the RNC of efforts to disenfranchise voters through targeted harassment, intimidation, and efforts to prevent the complete counting and certification of ballots after the 2020 election. The ruling notes that Trump's lawyers previously argued that he is absolutely immune from damages for his actions within the outer perimeter of his official responsibilities as president. Apparently, the judge Emmett Sullivan in Washington sided with the civil rights group, writing that Trump's conduct was purely political and therefore well beyond the contours of presidential immunity.
He doesn't get immunity either, Don? No immunity being offered? I bet he wishes he still had that pardon pen.
Right, pocket pardon. If former President Trump disrupted the certification of the electoral vote count, as plaintiffs allege, such actions would not constitute executive action in defense of the Constitution. For these reasons, the court concludes that former President Trump is not immune from monetary damages in this suit.
Dom, you know what else is not brought up in that article? And I'd like to remind our fair audience, they're very thoughtful people. They probably remember the John Eastman. You remember the Eastman memo, the coup attempt?
Yes.
He was in Wisconsin as recently as earlier this year, lobbying directly to the Speaker of the Wisconsin Assembly. In fact, I have ABC News's coverage from April 11th, since it was not brought up there. Let me bring it up now. Just as he was emerging as a top target of the House committee investigating the Capitol attack, former Trump lawyer John Eastman took a trip to Wisconsin. Eastman, a right-wing lawyer who drafted a plan for former President Donald Trump to cling to power by falsely claiming that then Vice President Mike Pence could reject legitimate electors during the 2020 presidential election, was part of a small group of Trump allies who secured a private meeting last month to try and convince the Republican leader of the Wisconsin State Assembly, they mean you, Robin Voss, to decertify President Joe Biden's win. Multiple sources familiar with the meeting told ABC. On March 16th, Eastman and others spent nearly 2 hours behind closed doors pressuring Republican Wisconsin Assembly Speaker Robin Voss, pressuring him, Dom, to nullify the 2020 election and reclaim the electors awarded to Biden. Now, remember, folks, this is March 16th, 2022. That's earlier this year. This is not distant history. And do you think Robin Voss will also be subject to giving non-perjurous congressional testimony on the topic of what he was pressured to do in March of 2022? Because
Absolutely.
Dom.
Absolutely. I'm sure the J6 committee and their staffers are all over every aspect, be it Trump or Eastman.
Dominic Eastman in the meeting urged Voss to decertify the election. Sources familiar with the meeting said, according to Jefferson Davis, a Wisconsin activist pushing to reverse Biden's victory, who was also in the meeting. Wasn't he also, Dom, if you got just a skosh of time, look up and see if Jefferson Davis is one of the fraudulent Trump electors. I think he might be on that short list. Trump's former lawyer pushed Voss to start reclaiming the electors and move forward with either a do-over or having a new slate of electors seated that would declare someone else the winner. That's still happening this year, folks. Following publication, Davis called to clarify part of his comments, telling ABC News in a news statement that John Eastman has never suggested a do-over. It did not say so in a closed meeting with Robin Voss. Oh, I changed my mind. That didn't really happen like I told you it did. When reached for comment, Eastman said in a statement to ABC News, by explicit request from, wait for it, Speaker Voss, that meeting was confidential, so I'm not able to make any comment. But Robin Voss will be able to under congressional testimony, which I'm pretty sure, and I thought about it for just a second. I stumbled for words before I was thinking about it. If Robin Voss lies to Congress, can he go to jail for that? And I would say Michael Cohen would say yes.
I think Robin Voss and all the Republicans should do their duty and testify. This is a congressional committee, right? Congress. This is the will of the people. People have questions, and Robin Voss, and I get it. You try to delay and put it after the election. I guess I'm fine with that. But you better be forthcoming. You better be honest in your testimony.
Dominic,
Crudy, I do not see Jefferson Davis on the Wisconsin list of fraudulent electors.
Could you read that list for the audiences?
Certainly. Andrew Hitt, Kelly Ruh, Carol Brunner, Edward Scott Grabens, Bill Feehan, Robert Spindell Jr., Kathy Kernan, Daryl Carlson, Pam Travis, Mary Boystrin. And looks like Tom Schreibel is a partner. He was slated to appear but replaced.
Well, those are your fraudulent Trump electors from the great state of Wisconsin. Today, it's your day, Robin Voss. It's your day in the barrel. Hope you had a good old time. I hope you were truthful, sir, because otherwise you could end up like Michael Cohen, and that'd be a shame. Come back, more Devil's Advocates radio show. You could be in the barrel, 844-96-PARTY.
I spent the last few years building up an immunity.
Believe me.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
If I could be you.
And you could be me?
For just 1 hour.
If you could find a way.
To get inside.
Each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
The Devil's Advocates.
Email missive just a little bit ago. Can I share just a little?
Please.
Friend, Trump is one day away from taking the stage in Wisconsin, and we need you to help stop big tech from censoring his American First message. By taking our Trump rally poll, can we count on your prompt response? Here are your options. Yes, I stand with Trump, or no, I support censorship. Let's just say you feel a little pushed in the corner.
Check out the entire podcast library at darnwi.com.
You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Weather brought to you by the Joint Chiropractic Clinics in Madison. Catch their Black Friday specials now. Buy a package of 6, 10, or 20 visits before the end of November and get bonus visits for free. Head to the Joint Chiropractic and start feeling better today.
Here's your Devil Radio forecast. 15 tonight, under clear skies, west winds 10 to 20 miles an hour. Mainly sunny skies and calm. Tomorrow, highs level off around 34. Mainly clear skies again tomorrow night. Lows level off around 28. Daytime highs approaching 48. Friday, with a chance for scattered rain showers. 29, a blend of clouds and sun. Saturday. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist Eric Height. Currently, it's 24 degrees.
When they go low, we get high. The Devil's Advocates.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Phone lines always open. 844-967-2789. Christine McVie has passed away, a former band member from Fleetwood Mac. Thank you, Evan, throwing out a little love. Terrible day for rock and roll. Love Fleetwood Mac.
Dominic, after you give that nice honorarium to Christine McVie, I hate to complain about the temperature in this room, but feeling a little thin-skinned right now, Dom. I got to tell you, although it says at the top of the room where I've got the little in-room thing, it gives me the time and the temperature. It's now 69 degrees in here.
It's warming up.
Ironic. It was much cooler, like 3 degrees cooler. I'm still feeling a little cold because I'm sitting next to the glass here. We here at Civic Media, and Devil Radio and all the different spots we like to gallivant around. We often sit right near the glass and we do radio right for the people, Dom. And please tell somebody we're doing it. Tell your friends. Best radio show ever right here in Wisconsin. Crudy's freezing his ass off in that little studio for you. But here's the point. I love my girl Alice out here. I can hear her sometimes during the commercial breaks. She's our office manager. And Alice was so proud earlier today. She's got this nice warm heater right by her desk, right?
Yeah, right.
It's this season. And I'm like, oh man, I'm standing out there by your heater. I'm like, oh, this is great. But the thermostat is right around the corner from Alan.
Also out there by the heater.
I'm literally in proximity, let's just say, to the heater. But the thermostat actually controls the temperature in this room as well. So I'm freezing my arse off here. And I'm going to either go steal her heater or turn up the heat. That's my whole story.
Great story. Great.
My teeth
Rich and compelling.
Why?
I got you, buddy. I went and screwed that up a tiny bit for you.
Could we do a little bit skosh more?
just a
squeezing nickels now. I thought I thought we were a real court. Oh, there it goes. I hear the come.
Yeah, anything.
I'll stop complaining.
844-967-2789. Wisconsin Assembly Speaker Robin Voss testifying to the J6. Crudy found this one from March. Scott Bauer at the AP. Voss, this is from March 15th, 2022. Said on Tuesday he's meeting with advocates for decertifying Biden's win in the battleground state hours before he and state Senate top Republicans were to discuss the topic with county GOP leaders. Voss told the AP he was inviting those who believe the 2020 election cannot be decertified to discuss it along with advocates for decertification on Wednesday. Again, this is back in March. Here's a quote from...
your boy Tim Rantham thrown out of that meeting? He was like all down for the decertification. And then later... Was he already running for governor at that point? Is that why he got thrown out?
I don't remember the specific timeline. Let me just get through the AP and then we can look at that as well. Voss said at the time, I still believe that we do not have the ability to decertify, but I said I would listen to those who are bringing experts to say that we can, and we will see if they can prove their case. I've asked people who think they can and think we can't to all sit in a room, discuss it, and that's what we're going to do tomorrow. Of course, he's been under pressure. The reason I bring this up, Crudy, one of those in the meeting with Voss, former Menominee Falls Village President Jefferson Davis. He has organized a pair of rallies at the Capitol attended by Tim Rantham, a Republican candidate for governor and state representative who has introduced resolutions to decertify the vote. Jefferson Davis, former Menominee Falls Village President here in Wisconsin. Davis said he and others will be presenting evidence to Voss that shows there were between 250,000 and 300,000 fake ballots cast in the election, and that decertification can legally be done. Trump won the state of Wisconsin in such a landslide, it's not even funny, and we will have the evidence. Okay.
A short follow-up piece here. A Republican state lawmaker and candidate for governor. Bear with me just a moment. I think his name is Tim Rantham. You know the man, Dom. Said he wanted to punch Assembly Speaker Robin Voss right in the nose after he kicked him out of a meeting about decertifying President Joe Biden's 2020 win in Wisconsin. I would point out, also from Scott Bauer, Dateline, Associated Press, March 17th. Busy's birthday, 2022. Rep. Timothy Rantham, Ram Jam, said in an online interview posted on YouTube on Wednesday that he was angry with Voss after the speaker did not allow him in the closed-door meeting that day. The confidential don't talk about a closed-door meeting. Rantham has unsuccessfully tried to decertify Biden's win, a move Voss opposes. Here's a quote from the former, well, I guess he's still Tim Rantham Assembly member until January. It was the perfect opportunity to punch him right in the nose and say, go pound sand. But I was concerned about the collateral damage. Like he was going to swing through too hard and someone else was going to take.
I mean, really, dude? You're going to assault somebody because you got kicked out of a meeting? I mean, this guy ran for governor. Yeah, I'm going to beat your ass. You don't let me in the door. Yeah, that sounds like a great temperament for governor.
Do you remember the movie The Candidate where Will Ferrell?
Yeah.
Nobody asked me how my hand's feeling after I punched that baby.
The campaign, yes.
What'd I say?
The Candidate, yes, The Campaign. Oh. Great movie. That baby's iron jaw hurt my hand.
That's what you call collateral damage when you go to punch one guy and you hit another down. Here's a little bit more from, the alleged baby puncher wannabe, Tim Rantham. There's only one way to treat a bully, and that's to punch him right back in the nose. But in this case, I couldn't take the chance because he could have just ended it and say, fine, I'm out of here, and left. And then it would have been on me. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, weird.
You moron.
No, assault doesn't necessarily solve all your problems, Tim.
Wait. I am not a violent person. Says every domestic abuser ever.
Right. Why'd you make me hit you?
I referenced nose punch in describing how most, if not all, bullies should be treated. It's a common phrase, isn't it? Well, throat punch, maybe, right, Tom?
I prefer a throat punch.
You ever want to throat punch an outgoing assembly member right in the throat?
If I did, it'd be Tim Rantham.
Speaker Voss, but we wouldn't condone any sort of
course not,
violence. Speaker Voss should do the right thing and correct the crime of the century immediately. Trump said in a statement, it is my opinion that other states will be doing this. Wisconsin should lead the way. Like the devil's advocates do. Come back, more of us.
Is anyone asking how my hand feels after punching that iron-like jaw of that baby?
How was your hand?
I can't even make a fist.
Oh.
Cut through the bullshit. Get the information the deep state doesn't want you to know. Only on Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM.
When it comes to computers, Madison Computer Works is known for our exceptional service and support and a great selection of new and used computers as well. Did you know we also offer the same great computer support without bringing your computer in for repair? With our computer care plans, our friendly and knowledgeable techs can fix most of your computer issues and help you with computer problems remotely without needing an on-site visit. Call Madison Computer Works today at 608-231-8000. Madison Computer Works, computers that work for you.
10 years ago, we opened with a single location. We had one glass blower, that's me, and a full display of artistically created glass pipes and products. Today, you've helped us grow to 3 successful locations. Ignite Glass and Gifts thanks you for your continued support. We'll be here as long as you need us. Madison's favorite for glass gifts and vape. Ignite Glass and Gifts, Monona Drive, Williamson Street, and Odana Road. 1 solid decade. Man, does that feel good.
I'm Ben Thomas with an AP News Minute.
The yeas are 290. The nays are 137.
The House passing a bill aimed at heading off a rail strike. It would bind companies and workers to a proposed settlement reached in September that was voted down by 4 of the 12 unions. Meantime, the Federal Reserve reports job openings dropped in October, though they remained high, with employers posting 10.3 million job vacancies. 4 million quit their jobs. And Fed Chair Jerome Powell says the central bank will push rates higher than expected and keep them there longer to fight inflation. But in a speech to the Brookings Institution, he signaled the Fed may increase its key interest rate by a smaller increment at its December meeting.
There's no doubt that we've made substantial progress, raising our target range for the federal funds rate by 375 basis points since March.
That cheered Wall Street. The Dow gained more than 2%, the S&P more than 3%, and the NASDAQ 4.4%. I'm Ben Thomas.
Paid for by government.com. Have you heard? A recent stash of 1904 Morgan silver dollar coins has been found. These gorgeous 1904 silver dollar coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck. This is a key date for silver dollar collectors, and only a limited quantity are available. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone interested in silver coins. Just call government at 1-800-386-7195, and you are guaranteed a mint condition 1904 Morgan silver dollar featuring the iconic mint mark of the New Orleans Mint. The final year of production, but with limited quantity, you must call now. These 1904 silver coins are still in uncirculated condition. That is 117 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-386-7195. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collectors Bonus Package, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-386-7195 now to secure your 1904 Morgan silver dollars before they sell out. That's 1-800-386.
For Civic Media, I'm Jane Matnair with your headlines. Winter has arrived with the snowy season. Snow plows are out working hard to keep the roads clear. Drivers might notice a new feature on many snow plows throughout Wisconsin. County and municipal snow plows have added flashing green lights in addition to the yellow ones. A new law was passed in April allowing this addition. Officials say green lights create a better contrast against the snow and are more visible during storms. The decision was made because of several close calls, and as they're phased in, officials hoping it will serve as a more visible reminder to slow down and proceed with caution around snowplows. Gas prices falling in Wisconsin. On Monday, prices in Milwaukee, Green Bay, and Appleton fell below $3 a gallon. Statewide average gas prices also down from $3.23 a week ago to $3.15 on Tuesday. You're listening to Devil Radio, 92.7 FM, WTTN, 1580 AM.
The Devil's Advocates, tackling the issues you're not allowed to talk about at the dinner table.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. I asked Alice to either turn down her heater or bring me a scarf, please. So we'll work it out. Colleague to colleague. Here's something they're going to have to work out. You know, you keep saying the GOP is in disarray.
Oh, yes.
Their Supreme Court, the new candidate, she declared right down the road from us at WAUK 540 AM at the courthouse in Waukesha. Made her big announcement today, Dom. And, you know, she's going to come under some fire. And journalist, Page 6 journalist, Journal Sentinel journalist, Dan Bice, well, he's got the latest. And this one seems loud and clear, Dom. You were even flagged on this one. You knew that just didn't almost misspoke. Jennifer Dorow of Waukesha, you heard she's got a cash bail problem, Dom. Sort of like Mandela did, apparently, but what's that all mean?
We'll see how the Republicans react. As Bice writes at the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, Dorow has been critical of the cash bail system. Deep-pocketed conservatives dropped millions of dollars on TV ads, criticizing Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes in this year's U.S. Senate race for his opposition to cash bail for defendants awaiting trial.
Did they? I hadn't noticed. Did they run ads against Mandela in that regard?
Yeah, I think a couple, one or two, perhaps, Crudy. Bice goes on. So what are those same interests going to do when a conservative candidate expresses her own concerns about the cash bail system? We will soon find out. Waukesha County Circuit Judge Jennifer Dorow, a conservative candidate for the state Supreme Court, was a member of the Legislative Council Study Committee on Bail and Conditions of Pretrial Release several years ago. As a member of the panel, Dorow expressed concerns about cash bail. Under the current system, judges direct defendants to pay a certain amount of money or bail to be released from jail. Bail is intended as a financial incentive for a defendant to show up for trial or future hearings. The system has come under criticism, especially among liberals, because it often means that wealthier defendants get released while poor defendants are forced to sit in jail because they cannot afford to post the bail. Dorow told the members of the Legislative Study Committee that the state's current system is coming up short. On December 11th of 2018, the Waukesha County judge said there's a huge body of evidence about whether cash bail is keeping communities safe. Quote, "There's a lot of evidence that says it doesn't," she said, though she added there might be a time and place for it until the state goes to another system. 2 months later, she was more expansive. Another quote, "We don't have a workable preventative detention, and more importantly, cash bail is not a best practice anymore," Dorow said on January 29th of 2019. And so if we are going to change anything, we should be looking at a system that eliminates cash bail with a robust preventative detention coupled with statewide pretrial services, because uniformity and funding need to be part of this solution as well. Let me just repeat just a portion of that quote. "If we're going to change anything, we should be looking at a system that eliminates cash bail." That's very similar to what Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes said, Michael.
Well, Dom, you're starting to sound a lot like your colleague in talk, Mark Belling. He is kind of the king of afternoons in Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah.
Knock him off the mountain. Dorow has even come under criticism from conservative whitey righty talker Mark Belling, who wrote last year that she has consistently defended the lenient bail decisions made by court commissioners. Of course, Dorow picked up a worldwide fan club in recent months. Well, cause celeb, right, Dom? Because of her handling of the case involving low cash bail. In 2021, Darrell Brooks was free on just $1,000 bail in a felony domestic violence case when he drove a Ford Escape into the Waukesha Christmas parade, killing 6 and injuring more than 60. Prosecutors have acknowledged the sum was inappropriately low, and Dorow oversaw the trial, which was aired on Court TV live stream. Brooks, 40, was convicted of all 76 counts, including 6 charges of first-degree intentional homicide. Dorow sentenced Brooks to 6 life sentences and 760 years in prison. When's he due for bail, Dom? In an email exchange, Dorow repeated her assertion that the current system is not working correctly. "I have long believed the bail system in Wisconsin is broken and in need of reform." Dorow, who has been on the bench for more than a decade, "We have certainly seen the fact that come home in a painful way in my community." But then Dorow took the issue in a different direction when asked if she still agrees with the view she expressed at a legislative council meeting about possibly eliminating cash bail. Instead, she said she supported a proposed constitutional amendment that would expand the factors that judges can consider when deciding to set cash bail for defendants. Earlier this year, state lawmakers approved an amendment that would allow courts to consider the defendant's criminal record and their potential risk to public safety when setting bail. Currently, bail is set only as a means to ensure the person appears in court. The amendment, which has been in the works since 2017, still needs the approval by both legislative houses in the second session and by voters in a statewide election. Here again is what she said. "Judges like me are not allowed to consider public safety when setting bail." I mean, that I'm not criticizing the speaker for this, but that's a shocking thought. The judge can't consider whether or not they're. Anyways, let me read on. Dorow said the proposed amendment aligns with what I was recommending at the Legislative Council Study Committee. Let me make sure I get all of this in context. "Judges like me are not allowed to consider public safety when setting bail. That is wrong. We need an approach that would allow for public safety to be paramount concern when determining bail." She went on to say, the proposed amendment aligns with what I was recommending. So is she backing away from her criticisms of cash bail? That's not clear. Apparently, by attacking my calls for reform, again, a quote from Judge Dorow, by attacking my calls for reform, some of the candidates in the race for Supreme Court must think the current bail system works just fine, Dorow concluded. "I disagree and have thought change was needed for a long time to protect the public." So what do her opponents have to say, Dom? Well, Janet Protasewicz, one of the 2 liberals in the contest, declined to comment. Dane County Judge Everett Mitchell, a relatively recent guest here, The other liberal said he thinks the cash bail system should be reformed but not eliminated. He said he favors making sure poor defendants have lawyers earlier in the process and creating more opportunities for court officials to review defendants' terms of release before trial. Cash bail is just a tool, and without cash bail, it takes another tool out of consideration, Mitchell said. In determining bail, he said judges must consider the need to keep communities and possibly witnesses safe while also protecting the constitutional rights of those charged with crimes. Again, charged, not convicted at that point. And then there's good old former Justice Kelly, right, Dom? The campaign for former state Supreme Court Justice Dan Kelly, a conservative, put out a cautious statement in response to Dorow's past statements on the problems with cash bail. Justice Kelly's tenure on the Supreme Court. Yeah,
they're going to start every single sentence from here until the election with that.
Justice Kelly's tenure on the Supreme Court has proven that the judicial conservatism, upholding the rule of law and rejecting activism, let's throw a few more buzzwords in this sentence and see if you buy it. Let me continue reading. Is the only way to protect our Constitution and prevent legislating from the bench, said Kelly's spokesman, Jim Dick, on behalf of a man that had no qualms legislating from the bench. The debate over cash bail is played out nationally and not without some controversy. Don, we know about the whole thing here in the state of Wisconsin. We know they beat the crap out of Mandela Barnes with this issue. And now you've got a divided GOP Supreme Court base. I mean, I heard Righty Whitey talk host Dan O'Donnell start his show very cautiously today, talking about the entry of Dorow to this race, this now 4-candidate race, a supposed nonpartisan race. But whenever they get through the primary, the Democrats will support the more liberal candidate. The Republicans will support the more conservative candidate. But the question is, Dom, will the Republican Party tear itself apart over the issue of cash bail?
Yes.
One of their own is the target, the same target they put on Mandela's back, because Dan Kelly is a yes, I will kind of guy, isn't he?
I wonder if they're going to put ads with Dorow and make her more white. Wisconsin lawmakers, Crudy, are pushing measures to bolster the cash bail system in wake of the Waukesha Parade massacre. The big question Daniel Blyce ponders is how will the group Fair Courts America respond to Dorow's past remarks? These seem like current remarks as well. I think she's standing by it. The group is being underwritten by billionaire Richard Uihlein, who funded the groups that attacked Barnes over his support for cashless bail throughout the fall campaign. Of course, we know Barnes narrowly lost to Johnson last month. All the group has said so far is that it will be backing Kelly. Quote, in these turbulent times, we cannot take a chance on untested, unproven alternatives, a spokesman for Fair Courts America said recently. In other words, win at all costs, even if it might mean attacking another conservative. That has some betting that the attack ads are coming soon. Uihlein has clearly signaled he is all in, said a Democratic operative not involved in the Supreme Court race. It appears the fissure within the Republican Party is continuing. Daniel Blyce at the Journal Sentinel, or as I would just paraphrase, Crudy, the Republican Party of Wisconsin is in disarray.
Well, I would really like you to ask Speaker Robin Voss after he returns from the barrel if that is the case. I'd like his comment on that.
844-967-2789. We would like your comments. Join us on the lines right now. Dick from Madison, you are up. Welcome, Dick. What do you got for us?
Hey, Dick.
Hey, guys. First of all, a huge congratulations on all of this expansion around the state.
Thanks, man.
Oh, my God. It's heartwarming.
Are you telling people, Dick? Not just us. Are you leaving the garage, telling the neighbors, hey, get the Civic Media app?
Absolutely. But I'm in the garage right now, and here's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling really Christmassy because yesterday, Stuart Rhodes, today, Voss and Robin Miller. Isn't this a nice time of the year?
You mean Stephen Miller, the former Nazi speechwriter to Donald Trump,
nice.
Alleged Nazi speechwriter.
It's nice that him and Robin Voss testify the same day. That's just beautiful. I mean, I'm feeling really in a holiday spirit when I see these people actually being taken to justice. What do you think? 25 years or so for Stewart Rhodes. That puts him in about 80 years old when he gets out.
Something like that, Dick. We should have a Merrick Garland advent calendar. Like our buddy Hassel last couple of years brought us these wonderful German beer advent calendars for the holidays. And, I got to be honest, I'm not even a big German beer guy, but, when a guy brings you a whole month's worth, you got to do your best. Usually the guys here chip in, do their part drinking a few of them, Dom. But anyways, here's the point. I would like a countdown to Merrick Garland Day, Dom. Or who is the new special counsel?
Jack Smith.
Jack Smith. When's Jack Smith Day? Can we have an advent calendar? When are we getting to the bottom? Because simply giving testimony behind closed doors, that's not gratifying enough for me.
Well, I know, but you got to look at who is giving testimony behind closed doors, right? I mean, they're getting obviously closer and closer to Trump's inner circle. I mean, Stephen Miller yesterday, I mean, that's kind of a big deal.
He gave testimony before the Department of Justice, and Robin Voss gave testimony before Congress. And guess what, Dom? Crudy's wish is going to come true first with Robin Voss and his testimony in the barrel today, because by the end of the month, by the end of the year, all of Robin Voss's testimony will be made public, because the January 6th committee is going to let all of us see the evidence to do with what we will.
And we'll find out how disloyal Robin Voss was to the megas.
Oh, he had to stick it to Trump. I mean, is he doing the Weissman? Is he going to fall on his sword, man? You're not the CFO. You're not getting a raise. Robin Voss, for your $51,000 a year job. A little bump for being a speaker. He probably does. Extra per diem. A little extra candy cane in his stocking at Christmas time. And 14 staffers at a cost to the taxpayers of over $1 million per year.
I mean, you need a lot of staffers when you work 2 months out of the year.
Dude, if we had $1 million staff, it'd sound almost as good as when Evan does it. Or Devil's Advocates. We'll be right back.
I have never been more excited about anything that have gotten the chance to work on.
Dun, dun, dun! I am Captain Chaos.
Telling my girls about my Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard.
But Mom's early detection gave us time to make a plan.
Talk to your family about seeing a doctor. Go to alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates.
The plaintiff, Donald J. Trump, hereby serves his suit against the defendants, Hillary Clinton and her cohorts, orchestrated an unthinkable plot, one that shocks the conscience and is an affront to the nation's democracy. This week on Fox. You know what I mean? Like you're throwing a few too many adverbs and adjectives in this sentence.
One man, one mission. Donald Trump gets made fun of. This is Watergate 2.
Making radio great again.
You're not too cool for me. And in return, I reciprocate that sentiment. I'll never be too cool for you. I was a man with a plan, but now I'm a dad with a decree, and you can't take that from me. Please let it be noted that I told my job they can dock my pay. Right now, it's just too important to take you to school every day. I want to be legendary for you. I want you to puff out your chest when you go to school, the same way I do. I walk taller because of you, because I found everything to live for.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Weather brought to you by the Joint Chiropractic of Madison, where Back Friday is back now through the end of November. It's easy. Sign up for a package, get free bonus visits, and start feeling the way you want to. The Joint Chiropractic, convenient, portable chiropractic care.
Here's your Devil Radio forecast. Lows around 15 tonight. Under clear skies, west winds 10 to 20 miles an hour. Highs level off around 34. Tomorrow, mainly clear skies. Mainly clear again tomorrow night. Lows dip down to about 28. High temperatures reach up to 48. Friday, with a chance for scattered rain showers. 26. Ample sunshine expected Saturday. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist Derek Height. Currently, it's 24 degrees.
Charged, never convicted. The Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Phone lines open for your take. 844-967-2789.
Dominic, there is some new reporting over at the Urban Milwaukee Online Daily. The reporting originally might have been at the, want to make sure I give proper credit to the original source here. Sorry, trying my best. I'll get back to you. The question, though, the Supreme Court race, and we've talked about this a lot. We've got a new entry into the race. Jennifer Dorow made her announcement today at the Waukesha Courthouse.
Not a fan of cash bail, just like Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes.
And I assume that will be an issue in a Republican Party in disarray, as you continue to point out, Tom. It's not so good over there on that side. But anyways, here is what I wanted to bring to your attention, Dom. There's a new article. Can the state be redistricted again? I'd like to know. In a recent midterm election, Democrats won 3 of 5 statewide races, including 2 of the 3 most important, governor and attorney general. But using their newly gerrymandered maps in 2022, Republicans expanded their large majorities in the state legislature, securing a 2/3 supermajority in the state Senate and falling just 2 seats short in the assembly. A disaster is how UW-Stevens Point political science professor emeritus Ed Miller described the state's freshly gerrymandered political districts. One of the most successful gerrymanders in the country, added Alyssa von Hagel, a political science professor at UW-Superior. And UW-Madison political scientist Barry Burden said the midterm elections validated a troubling perception about the state of Wisconsin's democracy, small d democracy. In 2022, the election results have confirmed that the partisan makeup of the state legislature has little to do with voter preferences, despite all of the statewide elections being decided by narrow margins and slightly favoring Democratic candidates. Large Republican majorities in the state legislature actually got larger. Yeah, it's not supposed to happen like that, Dom. But big changes to the political districts in Wisconsin are still possible in the near future. Experts say, Crudy's throwing a question mark. The most crucial determining factor likely will be the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Well, we've been talking about that. Got a big election coming up in the spring, Dom. But what could the court do about it? So, when it was time to redraw the political districts in 2021, which states are required to do after the census every 10 years, they did it again here in the state of Wisconsin. Only they used the old Scott Walker cooked the book maps, right? With a Democratic governor's veto in place, the GOP-controlled legislature couldn't pass their preferred maps as they did in 2011. They didn't get it the first time, remember? So the 2021 redistricting saga landed in the courts as has several times in previous decades. Those previous legal proceedings ended with the Wisconsin Supreme Court declining, Dom, because they liked the maps. It was their team declining to rule on political district boundaries, leaving the map making to the federal courts, which usually hired an expert to draw them with as little partisan skew as possible. But in 21, the right-wing majority on the state Supreme Court said this time they decided to keep the power to make rulings on political districts. The court then decided to require a least change approach to drawing the present maps. Let's bake in the cake, right? That's what they did. So anyways, ultimately, Wisconsin got state legislative maps that heavily favored Republicans, a point the election's results validated. But a win in the 2023 election by a liberal candidate flips the court, right? Democrats and good government groups are hopeful that a change in the court's ideological composition will provide an opportunity to challenge the current districts as partisan gerrymanders. They should. And a newly configured court might be more willing to entertain litigation arguing the previous round of redistricting was conducted illegally and needs to be redone. If a majority of justices were to view that argument favorably, the court then could hire an expert to draw the districts in as nonpartisan way as possible and ask the political parties to redraw maps and submit them again. I think there is a reasonable likelihood that that could happen if the composition of the court changes. That's what Crudy's waiting to hear. If history is an indication, the U.S. Supreme Court would be unlikely to intervene in the Wisconsin Supreme Court decision, although, Republicans would run bitching and screaming. Although the U.S. High Court intervened in 2022 in a case challenging Wisconsin's map on racial gerrymandering, the court repeatedly has declined to weigh in on political gerrymandering cases. So whichever party wins the 2023 Wisconsin Supreme Court open seat, liberals will have to defend a seat in 25 when left-wing Justice Ann Walsh Bradley is up for re-election. The seats of two other right-wing justices are up in 26 and 27. So it really comes down to next year. And next year starts in like a month. And the candidates on the ballot are growing. We've got this new star celebrity, if you will, of the Waukesha Christmas Parade trial, Judge Dorow. And you're going to have the very sanctimonious, pompous, one-time loser, former justice by appointment, Dan Kelly. So there's going to be a hell of a fight on the right, but whoever comes through the primary is absolutely going to be their candidate. I think it'll be Dorow. I think she was encouraged to join the race because a lot of people, despite Uline's fat contributions, don't think Dan Kelly's a political winner. I could hear it in Dan O'Donnell's greasy voice this morning. He was very excited about the prospect, although, speaking very conservatively and being thoughtful, Dom, but he's very excited about someone other than Dan Kelly, who I remind you, Dom, lost to Jill Karofsky by 163,000 votes. And Dan tried to compare it to the Russ Feingold race.
Wasn't there other goings on that ballot as well? There's other circumstances that happened there as well.
The circumstance there was the pandemic primary. It was supposed to be a primary for the presidential election. It was supposed to be our moment to shine. Bernie Sanders coming to town. But if you don't have the greatest of memories, Don, we went up to Minnesota. We partied with our friends at KTNF. We did our little party on Super Tuesday, and Joe Biden had a good night. And then all of the candidates dropped out in short succession, except for Warren and Bernie Sanders. And Bernie literally stayed in the Wisconsin race to try and keep it competitive on behalf of Wisconsin voters and to encourage turnout in that Supreme Court race. Now, I would remind everyone, Bernie Sanders subsequently withdrew his candidacy before they ever counted the votes in Wisconsin. It wasn't about winning. Bernie was playing a little strategery. And Jill Karofsky, I hope, sent him a little, thank you card, a little Christmas ham or something, because by staying in the race and perhaps turning out a few more voters or getting a few more to vote by mail, it was a big vote by mail ballot.
Mm-hmm.
Bernie did liberals and Jill Karofsky, Justice Karofsky, real solid. So anyways, it could change the whole dynamic of the state of Wisconsin. It's kind of an important election. Comes up in February and the general in April. Devil's Advocates, Hour 2, it's next.
Why don't you copy it? What? And have two maps? Bugger off.
I will do anything it takes to win.
Hey folks, Stephanie Miller here. As an enlightened progressive, you know how important it is to do business in accordance with your politics. That's why Solidarity Realty is my favorite real estate firm in Madison. Solidarity Realty is a local independent realty company that lives their values. They provide outstanding expertise and protect your best interests while building community and promoting sustainability and diversity. Vive la resistance! Find them today at solidarityrealty.com. And don't forget, tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
Do you want Wisconsin to suck? I don't. That's why you're listening to me now. I'm Hawk, owner of the Atomic Koi. Come to the Koi and tell them you're there because the devil sent you. Then I can spend more money on ads and help Devil Radio keep Wisconsin from spiraling into post-apocalyptic Republican suckage. I mean, that's Iowa's job. Buy a round of the Atomic Koi and save Wisconsin one drink at a time.
Suck down drinks so we don't have to suck.
You are listening to WTTN 1580 AM Columbus, W224 EG Madison, always streaming on the Devil Radio app.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. The House has passed a bill aimed at heading off a rail strike. It would bind companies and workers to a proposed settlement reached in September that was voted down by 4 of the 12 unions. Congresswoman Michelle Fischbach, a Republican from Minnesota, says the strike must be avoided.
Our country's economy can't handle a strike that reports would say would cost $2 billion a day. A rail strike would mean halting transportation of raw materials, food, beverages, and not to mention passengers trying to visit their families.
House Democrats have elected New York's Hakeem Jeffries as their new leader. He'll become the first Black American to lead a major political party in Congress.
We're going to fight hard each and every day. We have this honor to serve in Congress.
Republicans will be in the majority come January. At a NATO foreign ministers meeting, Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba.
We heard a number of commitments, new commitments from various NATO members with regards to providing Ukraine with more defensive weapons and energy equipment.
Kuleba declined to say whether those commitments include promises of Patriot missile batteries. The sound of tornado sirens as storms hit Jackson, Mississippi. The National Weather Service says record high temperatures in Texas and Louisiana fired up a front that spawned tornadoes across the Deep South, 2 killed in Alabama. The Commerce Department revised its third quarter estimate of the gross domestic product upward. It shows the U.S. economy grew at a 2.9% annual rate from July through September. On Wall Street, stocks rallied after Fed Chair Jerome Powell indicated the central bank could soon ease its aggressive pace of interest rate hikes aimed at taming inflation. The Dow gained more than 2%, the S&P more than 3%, and the Nasdaq 4.4%. This is AP News.
Paid for by government.com. Have you heard? A recent stash of 1904 Morgan silver dollar coins has been found. These gorgeous 1904 silver dollar coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck. This is a key date for silver dollar collectors, and only a limited quantity are available. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone interested in silver coins. Just call government at 1-800-386-7195, and you are guaranteed a mint condition 1904 Morgan silver dollar featuring the iconic O mint mark of the New Orleans Mint, the final year of production, but with limited quantity, you must call now. These 1904 silver coins are still in uncirculated condition. That is 117 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-386-7195. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $25 value free with every order. Call 1-800-386-7195 now to secure your 1904 Morgan silver dollars before they sell out. That's 1-800-386-7195.
At Chad's Design Build, we care deeply about the quality of the services that we provide to our clients. An excellent remodeling experience requires communication, honesty, accuracy, and a detailed plan, all of which helps to create a satisfied client. And these commitments spell our name. To learn more about the Chad's remodeling experience, go to chadsdesignbuild.com. Building a better world, one remodeled home at a time, and celebrating 30 years of excellence.
You wanted information as election results rolled in, and the Civic Media network of radio stations delivered it live.
I was so impressed with your coverage, and I listened to you guys, and I got all the coverage. It was amazing.
Civic Media, the only network with news reporters and show hosts stationed across Wisconsin, sharing political insight not found anywhere else. Elections or anytime, we are here for you, your local Civic Media radio stations, and streaming on the Civic Media app.
When you're having computer problems, you need a company you trust to get things working again, quickly and affordably. Madison Computer Works has been doing that for business and residential customers for decades. Our computer care plans take away the hassle of being without your computer or needing to bring it in for repair. Starting at only $10 a month, our local and friendly techs provide remote help and can fix most problems in just minutes. Our computer care plans are the perfect holiday gift. Call 608-231-8000 and sign up today. Madison Computer Works, computers that work for you.
Join me, Stephanie Miller, and the entire Sexy Liberal Resistance every morning from 8 to 11 for the Stephanie Miller Show right here on 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM. Listen live Monday through Friday on Devil Radio, Wisconsin's home for progressive news talk radio.
For Civic Media, I'm Terry Bell with this news. Waukesha County Judge Jennifer Dorow became famous in Wisconsin for presiding over the Darrell Brooks trial. Today, she announces she's running for Wisconsin Supreme Court. The election is expected to determine the court's ideological majority. Dorow was appointed by former Governor Scott Walker and is reportedly active in the Republican Party. Flu cases in southern Wisconsin quadrupled in November. UW Health says it had 422 positive flu cases last week alone, more than any other number all last flu season. People are gathering more than they have in almost 3 years. State health officials are encouraging people to get their flu shots, stay home when sick, and wash hands frequently. In sports, the Bucks are at the Knicks tonight. You're listening to Devil Radio, 92.7 FM, WTTN 1580 AM.
Devil Radio programming is produced live in the Solidarity Realty Studios. Find them at solidarityrealty.com. Solidarity Realty. There is an alternative.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves and corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the Devil Radio Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning. Welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Here is your host, Mike Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, the Hump Day edition, the happier happy hour. Dominic, I've got a quick update from hour number one. I've got a statement from Assembly Speaker, man in the barrel himself, Robin Voss. It's a brief statement.
Okay, let's hear it.
Our friends at WisPolitics.com reporting Assembly Speaker Robin Voss, Republican from Rochester, said this afternoon's meeting with the January 6th Select Committee was brief as he answered lawmakers' questions on the Wisconsin 2020 presidential. Voss filed a lawsuit in September, as we've talked about, Dom, to block the committee's subpoena seeking information on former President Donald Trump's efforts to pressure him into voting to overturn the 2020 election results. And for those tuning in late, that was this year. He's still doing it. Donald Trump was doing it in 2022.
Right.
He didn't indicate, Robin Voss didn't indicate why he decided to meet with the committee despite the lawsuit. Here's a brief statement from Speaker Voss. Today, I met with the January 6th Select Committee after previously receiving a subpoena for my testimony. Very generous of him. I did not have any involvement with the events of January 6, 2021. No one's alleging you did. Except the whole, let me read on. My meeting with the Select Committee was brief, and I answered their questions regarding Wisconsin's 2020 presidential election. That's it.
Well, we're going to hear it all at some point when that J6 committee releases everything sooner than later.
Well, Dom, that brings me to the next very titillating headline of the day. I'd like you to lead back. House committee receives Donald Trump's federal taxes from the IRS. Not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but 6 years of his personal taxes and assorted corporate taxes. The whole kit and caboodle, baby.
CNN reporting the House Ways and Means Committee now has 6 years of Donald Trump's federal tax returns ending, a years-long pursuit by Democrats to dig into one of the former president's most closely guarded personal details. Treasury has complied with last week's court decision, a Treasury spokesperson told CNN on Wednesday. The Supreme Court declined last week to intervene after courts said the House had power to request the returns from the IRS. The committee, led by Democratic Rep. Richard Neal of Massachusetts, had sought 6 years of Trump's tax returns, primarily from the time he served as president. That included records from both Trump personally and several of his corporate entities. The documents are not expected to be immediately released to the public. Not immediately, Crudy. Neal said Wednesday that Democrats would meet as a caucus to discuss how to handle the tax returns and get legal advice on how to proceed. Such a meeting, though, hasn't been scheduled yet, he said. The congressman declined to say if they would release any of the returns publicly. Quote, the next step is to have a meeting of the Democratic caucus. Trump's legal team had continuously sought to keep his return secret and turned to the Supreme Court, composed of 3 of his nominees, after he lost at the lower court level. A quote from his argument to the Supreme Court: no Congress has ever wielded its legislative powers to demand a president's tax returns. He warned of far-reaching implications of the D.C. court ruling. He had argued that the way the lower courts approached the House request ran afoul of the Supreme Court's ruling in the Mazars case concerning a subpoena that the House issued to Trump's accounting firm for his tax information. Trump's taxes have been largely a mystery since he ran for office. And let's remember now, folks, most presidents, candidates, they release their taxes. Trump declined to do so. During his 2016 campaign, Trump broke with presidential election norms, as mentioned, refused to produce his tax returns for public view, and they remained private after he took office. Being under audit by the IRS does not preclude someone from releasing their tax return publicly, but that hasn't stopped Trump from using it as a defense against releasing his financial information, at least security to the public. In 2016, Trump released a letter from his tax attorneys that confirmed he was under audit, but the letter also said the IRS finished reviewing Trump's taxes from 2002 to 2008. Trump did not release his returns from those years, even though the audits were over. An expansive New York Times report in 2020 found that Trump paid no federal income taxes whatsoever in 10 out of 15 years beginning in 2000 because he reported losing significantly more than he made.
I can believe that. I can believe he has years where he is such a loser, as a businessman, that he loses more than his net profitability. I mean, most of his empire is really built on his daddy's money. I mean, the vast majority of it. He got like nearly $500 million just from his dad. If he, when they say if he'd have just stuck it in the stock market, left it,
hell, man, if he just had put it in T-bonds, he'd probably be better off than he is.
So, he's no spectacular businessman. And I think that those that, have run small businesses or larger businesses, there are ways to take all your loss before the end of the year so we can take a tax loss this year. There's lots of little manipulations, but I would say, what happens when you dig into some of the write-offs, Jerry? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does he even know what a write-off is? Is he taking appropriate write-offs? And Dom, here's where I need the audience to participate. I promised you I was going to do this. What sort of strange and unusual write-offs do you think will be contained in Donald Trump's personal income taxes or his business taxes?
You mean like the payment, the expense? How do they categorize the expense of paying off Stormy Daniels, for example?
Yes. That
was that consulting? I mean,
Yes. How would you characterize that? And what category? Ask my accountant. What category are you categorized? So what I'm asking for from the audience, and I'd like your participation at 844-967-2789. It can be fun, even for conservatives. I mean, you got to wonder, this guy's living something of a grandiose lifestyle. When you're a business owner, Dom, though, I'm always doing business. So it's
always doing business. Everything's an expense.
So what do you think the strangest or most unusual thing that Donald Trump claimed on his taxes in like the last 6 years? And let your imagination and the FCC be your guide. No profanity, please. 844-967-2789, 844-96 party. It's always a party up in here. Mark, you've been in the party the longest. Thanks for waiting in the queue, man. You're up. Any thoughts on strange and unusual Donald Trump write-offs?
Hey, Mark.
Well, whatever dye he uses to achieve his deep, rich orange color.
Well, that's a cosmetic thing. I mean, he's a public figure. I think he should be entitled to all the hairspray, all the weasel pelts, hair dryers, and many, many, many stylists. I think those are all acceptable write-offs.
Yeah, the stylist expense would be consulting expense, perhaps, right? Professional advice.
Don't insult weasels. They're cute little guys. My dad had one in the garage up back when I was back in up north, and I came out and visited him. I watched him work out in the garage all winter when he was working. He put little pieces of hot dogs out for it, and they're like that. But I mean, that it is just and I guess we have to find some amusement over the whole thing of the criminality of Donald Trump and the whole criminal cadre of Republican politicians that have supported him. That I guess the question I'd be asking of all the Republican legislators, how many of them were on to the conspiracy that was going on in the Capitol for the whole fake electors thing, and why didn't they come out and condemn that, full-throatedly and say, this is happening, this should not be happening.
How do you condemn what you are complicit in?
Right, and why would you condemn it? Because if they pull it off, then you get to stay in power.
That's just it. I mean, they apparently have forgotten their oath to the Constitution and their oath to the rule of law, and that's what we need to just keep pointing out. I mean, that these guys, but apparently a lot of their supporters don't seem to care.
Right, that's kind of the problem.
But you never really knew or gave a damn about in the first place, right? It was just the words you got to say to get in the club. 844-967-2789. That's why people go to church. They say those magic words and then they get into heaven.
Then you get a free pass for the next 7 days.
I can't believe I left that one out there for you. The actual Christian on the panel.
Is that what you are?
I'd like to think. Bill from Muscadet, welcome to the show.
Hey, Bill.
Good, Bill. How are you? Hey, Bill.
I appreciate your program and the fact that we have dialogue here, but you guys constantly beat up on the Orange Man.
Well, he's an obvious target, Bill.
It's deserved, Bill.
He's the first candidate in the pool for 2024, Bill. He declared himself.
But listen, hear me out here. At least under Donald Trump, we had a secure border.
No, we
we've
didn't.
got 6,000 people, who knows from where, coming into this country.
How did they become
a day.
insecure after Trump? I mean, what changed? Did Trump take all the border fence? Did he have the border sealed and then he was no longer the president? We stopped sealing the border? Nothing really changed here, Bill.
This Mayorkas guy that you love so much.
You never heard us bring him up. I can't pronounce his name. I don't even say it.
A day. Now, if you want to overtalk me, we can rattle. You want to jack with me, but where are these illegals coming? Where are they going to stay? Who's going to pay for them?
Can I answer all of those questions? We could assimilate them, Bill. I mean, you live in a rural part of Wisconsin. You live in Richland County.
What do they try?
Do they work on the dairies, Bill? I mean, you got neighbors that are using Latinos in the barn right now. They're milking right now, Bill.
But they came here legally.
No, not most of them, Bill.
I'm talking legal people. They stood in line and they paid their.
No, Bill, that's not true. Bill, I'm just telling you, man, your facts are wrong. A big percentage of the Latino labor in the farm and the dairy industry in Wisconsin are not quote unquote legal. They do not have work visas. They're not on paper, Bill. That's a fact, man.
And those that did come here legally, that's only because they were granted amnesty by Reagan. Come back, more devils.
Taxes.
Mom was always very organized. But my sister and I noticed she started to forget things.
Telling my girls about my Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard.
But Mom's early detection gave us time to make a plan.
My sister and I were there for Mom and each other.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates, the fix for political junkies everywhere.
There seemingly is a willingness amongst Republicans to subvert future elections. How troubling is that to you, man?
Yeah, I think it's more than troubling. It's the core issue in the upcoming elections in 22 and 24, and it's going to be seen that way by historians. These people are out to destroy the democracy. To me, that is the linchpin issue in the upcoming election.
To what end, Matt?
do we destroy our democracy or not?
Follow the Devil's Advocates on Facebook and Twitter.
Stories come to life at your local parks and forests. They're places of wonder, and they're closer than you think. Make the forest part of your story today at a local park near you, or find one at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Weather brought to you by the Joint Chiropractic of Madison, where it's time for Black Friday specials. Start a package before the end of November and get free bonus visits to use as you want. Walk-in appointments and extended hours to match your schedule at the Joint Chiropractic, Madison and Pittsburgh.
Here's your Devil Radio forecast. Lows around 15 tonight, under clear skies, west winds 10 to 20 miles an hour. Highs level off around 34. Tomorrow, mainly clear skies. Mainly clear again tomorrow night. Lows dip down to about 28. High temperatures reach up to 48. Friday, with a chance for scattered rain showers. 26, ample sunshine expected Saturday. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist Eric Height. Currently, it's 23 degrees.
The Devil's Advocates. Never personal, only politics.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show, going to the lines at 844-967-2789.
Dominic, firstly, I want to make sure people understand the premise I'm seeking. You know, you can throw your own comments out there, but I want to know the newly released Trump taxes. The Dem caucus is going to meet in the House to decide what do we do with them. A, release them to the American people. Release
immediately.
And B, I'm asking you, the American people listening to my voice right now, what do you think the strangest or most unusual write-off Donald Trump's tried to claim in the last 6 years? You know, let your imaginations and decency be your guide. And, you know, just keep it tame. 844-967-2789. One other quick thought. Bill, Day Without Latinos, 2017, we're a brand new radio entity. We just launched our radio station like 15 days earlier. And Voces de la Frontera spearheaded a Day Without Latinos action in Milwaukee because Sheriff David A. Clark was beginning to target Latino immigrants, hardworking people living amongst us without a legal immigration status. And he was starting to put the pressure on them. And they brought the force of 25-ish thousand people to the city of Milwaukee. And, you know, if you'd have been walking around taking immigration status on each and every person marching that day, there were a few politicians in there, but that vast majority, those were hardworking Wisconsinites that didn't have legal permission to be here. But their kids are probably in the schools and they're working damn hard, and the taxes that they pay, if they're not getting paid under the table by, you know, some farmer out the back door of his bar.
By corporations and other entities that, you know, much of the time would be considered conservative Republicans who are engaging in this practice as well.
Or they're one step up the food chain. They're working in the chicken processing plant, right? Because someone's doing that work. And I don't see the kids, the recent grads from my son's high school, lining up to take those jobs. So anyways, catch me on a different day. I probably would have not busted your balls so much, Bill. But anyways, keep listening. 844-967-2789. Roby on the road. Welcome, Roby. What do you got for us?
Good afternoon. I am a first-time caller. That when I heard your question about Donald Trump and his taxes, my first thought was probably a long-term tax write-off, living expenses for the tribble that lives on his head.
Well, would he have more coverage then? Because the tribbles, they reproduced in the Star Trek, didn't they?
Well, not only that, just think about how long those, I mean, they're all illegal aliens.
I would say it would make him lose his mind, Roby, but of course we know that's long since been a bridge crossed.
Yeah, that ship sailed.
Roby, you got any other political thoughts or otherwise this fine afternoon?
Nope. I'm just going to navigate traffic and listen to you guys. So I bid you all a great afternoon.
Thank you. You as well.
Right on. Thank you, sir.
967-2789. If you're calling from the road, be safe out there. Got another one on the road. Dean, welcome, Dean. Any thoughts about the Trump taxes or any other thoughts?
Hey, Dean.
Oh, Trump. Hey, guys. Trump taxes. I'm thinking the Stormy Daniels, they need to probably take that off as medical because she was jumping on him like a chiropractor.
But what, he paid her to not have sex, Dean? I mean, what account number do you stick that under? What expense do you call that?
Well, it could be either medical or entertainment. Not real sure.
Explain this one to me. How did Michael Cohen go to jail for lying to Congress about that? But Donald Trump is all above board paying off a porn star to not have sex with him during the heat of a political campaign, and it's not a campaign finance violation. Nothing to see here. Move along. Do you think at least he took the write-off for Stormy Daniels' book, Full Disclosure?
Oh, definitely. What the heck did I hear? He was writing off his haircut that like $100,000 a year or something.
I would say that's pretty cheap. That's cheap, Dean.
I mean, it probably does take quite an effort to manage that hairstyle, Dean. And, those are artists. And you got to pay the artists, man.
Yeah, I guess. I wish my kid would have went that way, but he's a starving artist right now.
Well, tell him Trump needs some help with the do. He could be a write-off, Jerry. 844-967-2789. Devil's Advocates Radio Show. You're listening right now, having a little fun with the audience. And CJ. Welcome, CJ.
Hey, CJ.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Something Bill has to understand from Muscadet. When you guys can't defend your facts, you talk over people. And you do that all the time to me. But 4.4 million that they caught as they walk across the border since the worst president ever. And yeah,
did he catch them?
Mayorkas, because he's going to be impeached and should be, because they're unvaccinated. How much does it cost our school system? You guys don't care. You're okay with it because that's future votes for the Democrat Party.
What makes you think that, CJ? I keep hearing that. I mean, from my understanding, you look at some of the Latinos in Florida, for example, a lot of them are bending to the right. I mean, why do you automatically assume that if someone comes to this country that they're just going to be a Democratic voter? What gives you that impression?
Because it's hard to argue with Santa Claus, and that's what Democrats are. They're happy to give.
You're not answering the question, CJ. What gives you the impression that immigrants in this country are going to automatically become Democrats?
I don't think they will, as far as once they learn what your party's all about, just like Elon Musk did. You guys are nothing but a bunch of haters and dividers.
Yeah.
So the mere fact,
Are you going to not bring me a Christmas message this year? Not stick it to the glass over here? I could use you to break the wind today, CJ. Kind of windy on this side of the street.
No, CJ's always breaking wind every time he opens his mouth.
Come back with us. We are the Devil's Advocates. We'll let you talk, right up until you sound like CJ. 844-967-2789. The happier happy hour. It rolls on.
I've seen the tweet about tapes. Lordy, I hope they're tapes.
This tape will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Devil Radio, your fix for progressive talk radio from Fitchburg to DeForest, always streaming at DARNWI.com.
Salvatore's Tomato Pies, home of Madison's best farm-to-table pizza, is hiring. We are seeking line cooks, prep cooks, dishwashers, pizza makers, bartenders, servers, delivery drivers, and hosts. Sal's offers great pay, free shift meals, pay time off, and health insurance available for those working 30 hours a week. Students are welcome too. Positions available at all locations, Madison, Monona, and Sun Prairie. Stop into any location for an immediate interview or apply online at salvatorestomatopies.com.
Do you work from home, run a business, a nonprofit, or just need to organize? If so, don't miss Jackson Office Supplies going on a business sale now, where all items are 70 to 80% off. Can't miss deals on essential desktop items, including label writers, 3-hole punches, pens, markers, and ergonomic accessories. Great brands too, like Eldon, Rogers, Rubbermaid, Dymo, and more. Sale starts now at Jackson Office Supplies, 4622 Femrite Drive, Madison. 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday, or call 608-628-45.
I'm Ben Thomas with an AP News Minute. Congress is attempting to head off a looming rail strike. Massachusetts Democrat Jim McGovern says it would have dire consequences.
Commuter rails that carry tens of thousands of people to work each day would no longer run. There will be shortages of nearly every kind of food in our grocery stores.
The House bill would bind companies and workers to a proposed settlement reached in September, though it was voted down by 4 of the 12 unions involved. The Democrats' new leader come January will be New York Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, elected today. He'll be the first Black American to lead a major political party in Congress. Economic numbers today: third quarter GDP revised upward to 2.9% growth. Job openings down slightly in October, 10.3 million vacancies. Chair Jerome Powell says the Federal Reserve will push interest rates higher than previously expected and keep them there longer to fight inflation, but he indicates the pace of those hikes could ease. On Wall Street, stocks rallied. I'm Ben Thomas.
Paid for by government.com.
Have you heard? A recent stash of 1904 Morgan silver dollar coins has been found. These gorgeous 1904 O silver dollar coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck. This is a key date for silver dollar collectors, and only a limited quantity are available. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone interested in silver coins. Just call government at 1-800-386-7195, and you are guaranteed a mint condition 1904 O Morgan silver dollar featuring the iconic O mint mark of the New Orleans Mint, the final year of production, but with limited quantity. You must call now. These 1904 O silver coins are still in uncirculated condition. That is 117 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-386-7195. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-386-7195 now to secure your 1904 O Morgan silver dollars before they sell out. That's 1-800-386.
This is Pat Kreitlow from Up North News Radio. New on our website, results from the election show both Democrats and Republicans in Wisconsin want secure and necessary funding for our neighborhood public schools. Are GOP legislators listening? We also note that while Giving Tuesday is behind us now, there are places near you that really need whatever gifts you can provide to support their services. On our social media site, you'll hear clips from a recent interview Tim Michaels did with a Milwaukee radio station discussing what went wrong in his failed effort to become governor. And on the radio, we didn't mince words calling out an Associated Press story that painted a downright romantic picture of extremists and conspiracy theorists in Western Wisconsin and how they're just misunderstood as they stock up on ammunition and refuse to rule out violence. You can catch us on the radio weekday mornings 6 to 8 and online at upnorthnewswi.com.
The Devil's Advocates know how to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and we're all out of bubblegum.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, rolling through the happy hour. This one reminds me of college. Back in the lacrosse days. I think I'm going to lacrosse right now with caller Dana. Dana, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Dana.
Good. Hey, it's Devils. How are you?
Good, man.
Good. Hey, I just wanted to ask CJ a little bit here. CJ, just because you say something does not mean that is actually correct or accurate. You want to say Democrats are the dividers and the haters. I did not know Nick Fuentes was a Democrat. I didn't know Ben Shapiro was a Democrat, or Tucker Carlson, or Kanye West, or Donald Trump. CJ, the thing is, you folks need to look in the mirror. You can't just always accuse Democrats of what you are doing. It's basically like punching yourself in the face and blaming Joe Biden for your bruises. It just doesn't work, and most of the people side believes the things you make up that you expect everyone else to believe. That's all I got, guys. I just wanted to talk to CJ a little bit and tell him to come back down to earth.
Dina, have you seen any Let's Go Brandon flags flying at half staff since the midterms?
The only place I see that kind of stuff is online, and your keyboard warriors, they're still running the same old tropes. But no, I see a couple of houses around here that still have their Trump Pence banners up, but I just laugh at them as I drive by.
Dana, always good to talk to you, brother. I feel bad for Dana. Dana lives in the 3rd CD, and starting in January, his congressman is an insurrectionist. And his senator, the senior one, is also potentially linked to an insurrectionist act. So, man, you got it tough.
We feel for you, Dana, man. We feel for you. Stay tuned, man. We'll keep you sane.
If Tim Michels had won the gubernatorial race, he'd be making the actual insurrectionist in chief, the next president, regardless of what the voters of Wisconsin said. He was all down.
844-967-2789. Jerry from Arizona, you are next. Welcome, Jerry. What do you got for us?
Jerry, they haven't certified the
holidays and Happy New Year pretty soon.
Yes, thank you.
3 points. One is I remember hearing on MSNBC about Trump bought a mansion in Florida, right? We've all heard that story. $14 million. He sold it to that Russian oligarch going through a divorce, trying to hide income from his wife, obviously, his soon-to-be ex. Sold it for 87 or 97 million. It was like this huge profit. And I am dying to know, demand to know from Congress how much capital gains he paid on that huge transaction. The other thing is living here in Arizona now. See, I lived in Colorado for 73 years and everybody had bumper stickers. But I think it's the NRA and all the gun nuts that makes us, nobody has bumper stickers anymore. I have not seen one in Arizona, but I'm so glad I moved. This is the 3rd blue state I've moved to with a Democratic governor, and that's why our economy is so healthy. And talk about marijuana growing in Colorado, OMG. They made millions and millions and millions of dollars profit every year, whoever owned those dispensaries. So it's about time.
Well, the state owns the taxes. The state gets like $200 million a year from the state of Colorado, 5.8 million people, a commiserate sized state with Wisconsin. But here we got prohibition, and I believe 42 of the drunkest counties out of 50 in America.
It won't take long. It won't be long before it's legal everywhere. But the programs and what it pays for is amazing. Not just parks and recreation, but colleges, scholarships for students. Another thing, when I moved to New Mexico, I was so stupid. I had this huge bumper sticker that said support science. And I was 2 blocks from a Catholic high school. I mean, a Catholic school. That was not smart because they don't believe in science. They are so damn stupid. All right. Well, Happy New Year to you, and have a good one. I'm so proud. I'm so lucky. I think I get my radio station from Gallup, New Mexico, because when you guys read off the stations that you own or broadcast to, I don't know why no one mentions Arizona, but I'm grateful because
Jerry, where are you? What station do you have on the dial right now? Because I'll look us up there and we'll start telling people.
It's something called 950 AM, I think. I don't know. I used to get oldies, which I loved, but the owner's a radical right-wing nut job that wrote a book. She sued. She used a gun. I don't know, whatever. But she appealed and won $250 million for freedom of speech when she threatened, I think it was Gore. That's another thing. Don't even get me started on this.
All over the board, Jerry.
Why didn't we add 3 or 4 new Supreme Court justices while we still had the House? That's what I want to know. I'm really nervous that this new thing with Trump's tax finally took 6 years to get him. Does that mean they have to hurry up and do something and get it?
Yes.
Yes.
Here, I'm going to cut you short. 9:50 a.m. Sorry, I had my mind thinking you're streaming us, Jerry, on KTNF, our fine progressive affiliate. And when I say ours, I mean they play us. We appreciate when they do so. KTNF in Minneapolis is where we're originating from. That's what you're hearing us on. But if you're out in Arizona, it's either a stream or they got a hell of a signal kicking out of that place today. somebody look up Chad's licensing. I think he's overmodulating.
844-967-2789. Jerry, I think you make a great point regarding Trump's taxes. And while we can goof around and wonder, what kind of dumbass expenses he's sliding under the wrong categories, I think there are very legitimate concerns as to how Trump has, funded himself and what kind of relationships he has, for LLCs and a couple LPs, down the line. Are we going to be able to look upstream and see what checks were cut to where and where transaction went to from what corporation to that corporation and the different banks involved? I mean, there's a lot of analysis to do on those taxes. So I don't know that Congress is going to be able to have the energy or the time to get through all that they need to get through. But there's certainly some low-hanging fruit that we should be able to find pretty quickly.
Release the taxes. Release the hounds. Donald Trump always told us he would release the taxes as soon as the audit was done. Well, I think the House Ways and Means Committee, through consensus of the Democratic caucus, should release all of the taxes to the American people. And that way, CJ can read the taxes, and Bill and Muscadet, hell, Gary and Sussex, we can all read the taxes. That'd be the only logical thing to do.
And that's again, these are legitimate issues, and regardless of the presidential act and having a president report those things. I mean, what kind of influence outside? You're talking about everyone's concerned about the Hunter Biden, the family gangster, the Biden gangster family, and all that kind of stuff. Well, here we have literally Donald Trump knowingly doing business with Russian oligarchs. Don't you want to know, if you're so concerned about the Bidens, aren't you also concerned about Trump and his business dealings? I mean, certainly I would think you would be.
No collusion. 844-967-2789. We always collude with you right here on the airwaves. Pizza Box Mike, how you doing, man?
Pretty good, man. First of all, I want to correct CJ. Okay, when you stop somebody from spewing, repeats of Fox or Newsmax or other disinformation and lies, that's not called speaking over the top of them. That's just stopping them from spreading their bogus information.
Well, then,
on the other hand, when you ask CJ a question and he answers with, it's because he's so stupid he doesn't have an answer. Now that, so I cleared that up, right?
Pizza Box, the newest on Fox must be the impending impeachment of Mayorkas.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's all the right is talking about. They're lining them up. They must be talking about it on Righty Whitey Talk Radio and Fox News tonight. Tucker Carlson, it's the specter of, the same open borders that Donald Trump presided over, and Barack Obama and the Bushes and everyone prior, because we have penetrable borders. And there are things called airplanes, and people overstay visas. There's lots of ways to get to America. And we really, I think the vast majority of the non-criminals, we want them here. We want these hardworking people. The kids just don't want to go work in the fields anymore. What do you know? They don't like the detasseling of the corn or getting up at 4 to milk the cows.
Hey, white people are lazy. And, guys like CJ that does it, he always talks about inner city people and illegals, is because he has no friends or family that are Mexican or black. And I also want to put in on the tax write-off. I'm sure that, the golden toilets and stuff were able to get tax write-offs. So he probably put one in for that golden shower.
Nice. At least the cleaning bill, Pizza Box. Thanks for the call, man. And also, listen, if people yearn for freedom, we want those kind of people here, man. And that's the whole point of the asylum. And I get it, you can play games with that, and there are going to be people that do that. But the vast majority of people, I don't believe, are we want those, right? The huddled masses, right? Those that yearn for freedom, those that would come to, put everything on the line to risk to come to this country. We should embrace them, man. Because you know what? All of our ancestors did the same thing. Unless you're indigenous, we all did it.
I never remember trying to keep Christ in my heart occasionally, at least around the holidays. What did Jesus Christ say about the immigrants? It wasn't build that wall and make Mexico pay for it, if I recall.
Well, I mean, And again, the other thing, I looked up the Custom and Border Patrol enforcement actions, and as Bill mentioned, and as we know, there's been a lot more action in the last couple of years. A couple of things I would throw out there as perhaps one reason why. Of course, we had COVID. That kind of stopped things. But if we have more Border Patrol actions under this president than we did under the last president, does that mean we're catching more of them? I guess I'm just not clear exactly what the issue is. If we have 2.7 fiscal year to date, according to CBP.gov, 2.7 million enforcement actions this year, 1.9 last year, 646,000 and 1.15 million. So does that mean that the Biden administration is doing a better job? Or is it just that many more people? Because how do you know how many people are getting through if they're getting through?
Well, they talk about it all the time on Fox News, and they tell us the GOP is going to, impeachments for everyone, but starting with Mayorkas, we'll get to Joe Biden soon, right? I mean, that's their whole legislative agenda for the new session. So that's what we'll be talking about for the next year. Let's hope Carolyn has a better topic for us now, though. 844-967-2789. Carolyn, welcome. What do you got?
Hey, Carolyn.
Next time someone leaning like CJ does calls in, ask them how come Tucker Carlson is asking people to bear arms against drag queens.
Is that Tucker's newest? Or is he just asking questions?
No, that's a question I have. I think
no, that's how he phrases things. That's how he defends himself and deflects from sometimes insightful statements he makes. He's just asking questions, Carolyn.
Oh, well, I still wonder, why did Tucker Carlson ask people to carry arms against drag queens?
I don't know, Carolyn. Right here in Madison, where you and I both live, Vicki McKenna told people to go arm up and get their asses down to Kenosha and stand guard with Kyle Rittenhouse.
But those weren't drag queens. That's just entertainment. Entertainers.
Yeah, and I know it's certainly concerning, Carolyn. Thank you for the call. I mean, drag queens, really? I mean, Bugs Bunny was in drag in the 60s. You remember? Did anyone freak out about Bugs Bunny being in drag? Does anybody really? Why do you care? Because you're religious white nationalist zealots. That's why. If you're like Nick Fuentes, you want the Taliban, the Christian Taliban. You don't want Sharia law. You want canon law.
Christian Taliban, and that's why they don't want the immigrants here, Dom. They're okay with the white Russians. Come back, more devils.
I love white Russians. The rug really tied the room together.
You got to be honest about what it means to lead a country. It means killing people.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
The Devil's Advocates.
I've been invited on Fox News. I accepted. We're going to take your favorite ideas for burning it down. Alan from Madison, what do you got for us?
At the end of the show, you should tell them you've got a new logo for Fox News. What you do is stand up, drop your drawers, turn around, and Fox is on one sheet, news is on the other, and below it you have We Fill the Void.
You know, I don't know if I got that kind of courage, Alan, but I love how you think, man.
Follow the Devil's Advocates on Facebook and Twitter.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Weather brought to you by the Joint Chiropractic Clinics in Madison. Catch their Black Friday specials now. Buy a package of 6, 10, or 20 visits before the end of November and get bonus visits for free. Head to the Joint Chiropractic and start feeling better today.
Here's your Devil Radio forecast. 15 tonight, under clear skies, west winds 10 to 20 miles an hour. Mainly clear tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 34. Mainly clear skies and quiet again tomorrow night. Lows around 28. High temperatures reach up to 48. Friday with a chance for scattered rain showers. 26. Ample sunshine expected Saturday. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist Eric Height. Currently, it's 23 degrees.
You're listening to the radio show your mother warned you about, The Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show, the last segment of the day. If you got something to say, hit us up right now on the phones, 844-967-2789.
Dominic, guess who gave a farewell speech of sorts today to the U.S. Congress? Defeated Rep. Madison Cawthorn, a Trump favorite. He said his goodbyes today, and there is tape, but we'll spare you.
The pillow humper, yeah.
Well, you know, we've all got our stuff, our kinks, if you will, Dom. Maybe not.
Not judging, just saying.
Anyways, let's stay on point here because it gets better.
Oh, great.
Outgoing Rep. Madison Cawthorn, Republican from North Carolina. You know, I got family down there, Dom, who was ousted in a Republican primary earlier this year after being at the center of nonstop scandal and controversy, delivered a farewell address on the floor of the House of Representatives in which he railed against soft metrosexual men.
What?
I'm looking at you, Salvia.
Yeah. I am sexy.
Cawthorn, who became the target of House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy ire after he, and it says here, baselessly claimed that his GOP colleagues took part in drug-fueled orgies. But I'm not so sure that those accusations were baseless. Used his final address to decry the purported scourge of feminization in the United States. Our young men, I quote the outgoing representative, our young men are taught that weakness is strength, that delicacy is desirable, and that being a soft metrosexual is more valuable than training the mind, body, and soul, he declared. Social media has weakened us, siphoning our men of their will to fight. What are we supposed to be out there fighting for?
I'm not clear. Does he articulate?
Look up his short-lived marriage if you got a second.
Okay.
I'm remembering something. Just look him up quick. Like, who's Madison Cawthorn's ex-wife? Cawthorn then threw down a challenge to America's men and called on them to put down their phones and fight for the greatness of the United States, Dom. It's pitchforks and torches time in America? A little bit more. Will you reclaim your masculinity? He demanded to know. Will you become a man to be feared, to be respected, to be looked up to? And you know, I might occasionally height shame you, Dom, but Madison Cawthorn being somewhat ironic here in that he is confined to a wheelchair. Or will you let the nation's next generation be its final generation?
What? I mean, Madison Cawthorn, are you standing up Madison Cawthorn as the representative of masculinity? I mean, or sitting down? I'm not making jokes. I mean, literally, are you putting yourself forth as the icon, as the pinnacle of masculinity in this country? 'Cause I don't see it, man. I don't see you strong. I don't see you winning. I don't see you intelligent. I don't see you caring. I don't see you loving. I see you as just a big crybaby POS who got over his skis and got his ass handed to him like he should have. Is that masculine enough for you, sir?
Dom, you've never seen him handle himself at those coke-fueled house orgies.
I mean, and again, I got nothing against coke-fueled orgies, man. I mean, whatever gets you going, Madison Cawthorn. But is that it? I mean, is a coke-fueled orgy masculine? What if it's all men? Is that masculine? I mean, different kind of orgy. I hate to blow your mind here, Madison Cawthorn, but you know, there's all sorts of kind of orgies you can be involved in. But so for this loser to spend that time on the floor of Congress talking about metrosexuals, oh my God, what? This is terrible. This is embarrassing. It is embarrassing. Dude, please leave.
Here's what I would say. I can't tell how much of this is directed chastising Madison Cawthorn and how much of this is confessional on your part.
Yeah.
967.
Madison Cawthorn. All right, hang on. I know we got the call. Let me just throw this out there quickly. His wife of 8 months, her name Christina, they're divorcing. They're divorcing. He called his marriage to Christina an Instagram fitness influencer. The greatest honor, privilege, and adventure of my life. 8 months. But now he says the pair will split because of irreconcilable differences and the challenges of political life. When my wife Christina and I were engaged, I was not a member of Congress. I felt called to serve, and we both agreed that I should run. Our victory was unprecedented, but overnight our lives changed. That change has been both hectic and difficult. It's neither the pace nor lifestyle we planned for, he said. From the outset, we committed to make things work, to fight for our marriage and seek counsel for balancing the enormity of such a transition in life. Together, we realized that balance was not attainable and that we had irreconcilable differences between us. While it was an enormously difficult decision, Christina and I have mutually decided to divorce. We asked for privacy as we work through this privately because I'm a little baby man.
What I hear is,
I just added that.
What I heard, Dom, was I wasn't man enough for her.
Right. A little projection by Madison Cawthorn, perhaps.
844-967-2789. What a strong finish she made in Congress. Talking about sexual. Not like, let me recap my legislative accomplishments. American men, you're soft and metrosexual, like not strong like me. Wonder if he's got a new girlfriend yet. I hear the righties have been having a little trouble dating.
Well, they got an app for that.
The right stuff. Get on the right stuff. You know he's got a profile. Baron Grinder. 844-967-2789. Wisco Paul, welcome.
Hey, Paulie.
Hey, good afternoon. We already know what the Republicans' plan is. We discussed it earlier in the week. Impeach Biden, that's all they have. Nothing about Social Security, Medicare, health care, none of that, zero. They don't have a plan for the border either. So, and I got one quick one. And in fact, with Biden right now, gas is going down, employment's up, stock market's up. I don't know what more that you'd want than what Biden's been doing. But I've got one for you here. Is Biden going to roll on Trump, or is he going to lie to the Congress? And with that, have a great day, Devils.
Thanks, Paulie. Is he going to lie to Congress?
Well, it was his day in the barrel. We're going to find out within a couple of weeks, month at the tops. So Wisco Paul will take your action, man. What do you think it is?
I think absolutely he's not going to lie to Congress. I think, Robin Vos threw Donald Trump under the bus, as he rightfully should. Anyone who wants to try to attack our democracy like that. And of course, Robin Vos went along with the best he could, tried to play the line, man, walk the line, keep it. He got out of it. Robin Vos did. Donald Trump, not so much.
I don't think Robin Vos would do very well in prison. I hope, sir, you told the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and just stuck a knife right in the Trumpster's back, as a testimony sort of thing, as long as it was truthful. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. It's Wednesday. That's the truth as far as I know it. Have a great night.
Strong hands, don't they?
It's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Has exposed things that didn't need to be exposed.
Do you want Wisconsin to suck? I don't. That's why you're listening to me now. I'm Hawk, owner of the Jade Monkey. Come to the Monkey and tell them you're there because the devil sent you. Then I can spend more money on ads and help Devil Radio keep Wisconsin from spiraling into post-apocalyptic Republican suckage. I mean, that's Iowa's job. Buy a round of the Jade Monkey and save Wisconsin one drink at a time.
Suck down drinks so we don't have to suck.
Okay.
You wanted information as election results rolled in, and the Civic Media network of radio stations delivered it live.
I was so impressed
months was your coverage. And I listened to you guys and I got all the coverage. It was amazing.
Civic Media, the only network with news reporters and show hosts stationed across Wisconsin, sharing political insight not found anywhere else. Elections or anytime, we are here for you. Your local Civic Media radio stations and streaming on the Civic Media app.
You are listening to WTTN 1580 AM Columbus, W224 EG Madison, always streaming on the Devil Radio app.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. The yeas are 290, the nays are 137. The joint resolution is passed.
The House passing a bill aimed at heading off a rail strike. It would bind companies and workers to a proposed settlement reached in September, though that deal was voted down by 4 of the 12 unions. The Federal Reserve reports job openings dropped in October, though they remained high. Employers posted 10.3 million vacancies, while 4 million quit their jobs. And Fed Chair Jerome Powell says the central bank will push interest rates higher than expected and keep them there longer to